before 2025 ends, it's important to address one thing, one asset class, in fact, that has seen a significant rally, a crazy rally, if we can call it that. Bitcoin in 2025 has been a story of high peaks and significant volatility. Now, after starting the year around the mid, I think $90,000 odd levels, it surged to a new record highs, briefly topping previous all-time highs, driven largely by institutional adoption, fresh, of course, regulatory clarity as well, and the launch of Bitcoin spot ETFs. However, the rally faded in the later part of the year and by late December. Now, Bitcoin is trading roughly flat to slightly down year to date and well off its October peak as well. Now, this underscores that while demand from institutional players and treasury holders remains strong, market structure and macroeconomic headwinds are reshaping price behavior. Now, as we look forward to 2026, opinions among analysts diverge widely, ranging from renewed all-time highs on continued adoption to potential consolidation or volatility as markets digest existing gains. Today, we unpack what 2025 taught us about Bitcoin and explore the key factors that could shape its trajectory in 2026. And to decode exactly this, we're joined by Siva Venkatraman, who's the Chief Financial Officer of CoinSwitch, joining us now. Siva, thank you so much for taking out the time, and of course, a very happy new year to you and your family. My first question to you is with regards to the rally, the volatility that Bitcoin has seen in 2025. What are the key takeaways and what are the lessons that we bring forward in 2026?
Hi, Mahima. Thanks for having me. Yeah, Bitcoin from a price action perspective looks like you're going to be down by about, 4-5% for the year, almost flattish. But I think the year has been anything but flat for Bitcoin from an action perspective, right? Because we saw so much movement happening, positive changes happen on the regulatory side, crypto adoption side. Adoption is getting deeper, wider with institutional participation, all of that coming through. But if one were to look at just the price, it looks like nothing happened in Bitcoin, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. But Siva, with regards to somebody who's, who's comparatively young, right? Because a lot of investor interest in Bitcoin or for that matter, any of these cryptocurrencies is coming on from the younger generation who probably does not know as to what is, what is going to be the next move for all of these cryptocurrencies. And in fact, it's hard to predict as well, right? What would your one advice be to those investors stepping into 2026?
Okay, great. So I think there are a couple of things that the first-time investors, young, old, whoever is getting into crypto should be keeping in mind. First point is it's better to stay with the mainstream crypto tokens or coins, what we call. That includes Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum, Solana, XRP. So these are assets which have become several $billion. And in fact, Bitcoin itself is $2 trillion in market capitalization with very wide participation, have serious application not just as investments but also on chain as well. So it's important that they stay with the assets which are well recognized, and it's like when you invest in equity, you will start with blue chips or mutual funds, right? You won't just start picking up small caps and micro caps. It's the same phenomenon here. That's first point. The second one is learn about it, right? Because the way Web3 operates and crypto operates is it's somewhat different from traditional financial assets, and it's important to understand the basics of it before jumping in, just looking at the charts and price action. It's always tempting to do that, but better to learn a little bit of fundamentals of the crypto. Of course, you don't have to know all of it. When we drive a car, it's not that we know what's inside the internal combustion engine, but we know how to at least control it. At least that much of knowledge is necessary before someone jumps in completely.
Okay, Siva, with regards to the institutional adoption for Bitcoin specifically, introduction of Bitcoin ETFs, etc., has led to that. How structural do you think this is? Firstly, in terms of regularizing the entire crypto space, and how are you viewing this stepping into 2026? Like, do you think that this is going to pick up further momentum going forward?
Absolutely. I think so. What it has done is, I mean, the introduction of ETFs, which were in the waiting for almost a year. This is the first complete year of ETFs getting launched and being out there. The total funds that have flown into these ETFs is little more than a $50 billion, right? That's a massive volume of funds which have gone in, and this has kind of done a couple of things. One, it has reduced the volatility in Bitcoin. You did mention that Bitcoin went through a very volatile year, but to be frank, if we compare to the past periods, the Bitcoin's volatility has come down by almost half now. It still is more volatile than most asset classes, but it has come down. And these ETFs have taken Bitcoin to mass adoption, right? Retail participation has increased, institutional participation is increasing from a family office funds perspective. So all of this are major movements that have happened structurally and regulatorily, and I expect that this is going to continue in the next year as well, because these are not the grand success that we saw in the launch at the launch and a few months following that is likely to it has slowed down, but it's likely to remain a long term phenomenon rather than just a blip.
Okay, understood. Siva, looking ahead, a lot of analysts have different views with regards to how the bitcoins will do in 2026. Some say there'll be a breakout to consolidation. To some say that there could be a pullback as well. What do you think will be the main drivers that will lead to any of these going forward in 2026?
There are a few factors, right? First is the macroeconomic factors themselves. Bitcoin this year, one of the important things that it has seen a change is that it's no more driven by just crypto narratives. When I say crypto narrative, it's what's the story that is within the crypto ecosystem that used to be driving Bitcoin till at least last year. This year, what we have seen is Bitcoin has kind of aligned itself with a lot of mainstream financial assets, equities, bonds, gold, commodities. So whatever factors are driving those are also influencing Bitcoin prices today. This year, we saw the major movements in Bitcoin happen due to interest rate movements in US, in Japan, flows. So these are fundamental factors which are driving Bitcoin at this point, right? So that's going to be important factors to look at when we consider next year's price action for Bitcoin. That's one. Second, it's important also to consider the fact that there is a massive volume of new funds which are moving into Bitcoin. See, the daily Bitcoin that's getting mined is about 450 odd in a day, right? That's at the current halving. After the last halving, there's about 450 Bitcoins being mined in a day, which is very, very less. If you see the historic data for the last year, for this year, 2025, most of the days we saw the number of Bitcoins being bought by ETFs is 4 to 5 times of 450 number, right? So that's going to be an important factor because this new funds which are flowing into Bitcoin is likely to add to the price, right? Increase the price because most of the Bitcoin remains passive. More than 70% of the Bitcoins do not leave the wallets. They have remained in the wallets, which means the market float equivalent of an equity is very less in Bitcoin. And with new funds coming in, there's going to be a lot of supply, which is going to lift Bitcoin prices in the next year as well.
Interesting. And so then, Shiva, what are the events or catalysts that you'll be watching out for 2026 for the movement of Bitcoins?
First one, as I said, macroeconomic factors around interest rates. US interest rates continue to remain somewhat unpredictable at this point, and the way that shapes up is going to be the major driver of Bitcoin prices. Japan, again, as interest rates continue to raise, we saw some of this. The price action getting a little negative in Bitcoin, and we don't know if that continues. Then obviously it's going to be slightly negative for Bitcoin. So those are the important macro factors we are looking at, and on the regulation side, of course, Clarity Act needs to be passed in the US, and there are a lot of new regulations which have come in different countries around the world. Europe has MiCA. We have seen new regulations come in Middle East, various other regions in the world, and hopefully in India as well in some time very soon. But with all this regulation coming in, Bitcoin becomes mainstream, and that's going to bring in new flow of capital as well. So these are going to be the factors that I'm going to watch out for.
Okay. One last question to you, Siva. There are always two types of people in the market, right? One who is a long-term investor and one who is a trader. So stepping into 2026, anybody who's playing with Bitcoin in terms of investment or a trader, what would your advice be for both of these class of people?
Bitcoin has become a major asset to look at for investors because we've seen a lot of fund houses put out reports saying 1 to 2% of the of your wealth should get diversified into Bitcoin. And it's interesting because Bitcoin, if you see the last few years, has had a correlation of zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.5 with mainstream equities, different equity markets. So that shows that there is diversification benefit that can be obtained by adding some bit of Bitcoin into your portfolio. And that's for the investors to look at and consider. From a trader's perspective, traders want volatility, right? If you're a trader in options, futures, or even spot crypto, what you want is volatility, and Bitcoin offers that to a significant extent. Even after the drop in volatility last year, it still is trading. I mean, the current numbers are over 50%, which means there's a lot of money to be made for the traders if they play the right side.
Absolutely, Siva. Thank you so much for getting us those insights with regards to Bitcoin as well as cryptocurrencies. And thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with us at NDTV Profit. All right, viewers, with that, I think this will be the last episode for Your Money Matters for 2025. So wishing all of you a very happy New Year as well as a very warm welcome into 2026. Hope your money grows from here on to higher heights. So thank you so much for watching Your Money Matters at NDTV Profit. Stay tuned, more news and updates on the other side.